Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales, The Brothers Grimm, The Wolf and the Man. Once on a time, the fox was talking to the wolf about the strength of man, how no animal could withstand him, and how all were obliged to employ cunning in order to preserve themselves from him. Then the wolf answered, "If I had but the chance of seeing a man for once, I would set on him all the same." "I can help you to do that," said the fox. "Come to me early tomorrow morning, and I will show you one." The wolf presented himself early, and the fox took him out on the road by which the hunters went daily. First came an old discharged soldier. "Is that a man?" inquired the wolf. "No," answered the fox, "that was one." Afterwards came a little boy who was going to school. "Is that a man?" "No, that is going to be one." At length came a hunter, with his double-barreled gun on his back, and knife by his side. Said the fox to the wolf, "Look, there comes a man. You must attack him, but I will take myself off to my hole." The wolf then rushed on the man. When the hunter saw him, he said, "It is a pity that I have not loaded with a bullet," aimed, and fired his small shot in his face. The wolf made a very wry face, but did not let himself be frightened, and attacked him again, on which the hunter gave him the second barrel. The wolf swallowed his pain, and rushed on the hunter, but he drew out his bright knife and gave him a few cuts with it left and right, so that, bleeding everywhere, he ran howling back to the fox. "Well, brother wolf," said the fox, "how have you got on with man?" "Ah," replied the wolf, "I never imagined the strength of man to be what it is. First, he took a stick from his shoulder and blew into it, and then something flew into my face, which tickled me terribly. Then he breathed once more into the stick, and it flew into my nose like lightning and hail. When I was quite close, he drew a white rib out of his side, and he beat me with it till I was all but left lying dead." "See what a braggart you are," said the fox. "You have overreached yourself. You throw your hatchet so far that you cannot fetch it back again." The Wolf and the Fox. The wolf had the fox with him, and whatever the wolf wished, that the fox was compelled to do, for he was weaker, and he would gladly have been rid of his master. It chanced that once, as they were going through the forest, the wolf said, "Red Fox, give me something to eat, or else I will eat you yourself." Then the fox answered, "I know a farmyard where there are 2 young lambs. If you are inclined, we will fetch one of them." That suited the wolf, and they went there. And the fox stole the little lamb, took it to the wolf, and went away. The wolf devoured it, but was not satisfied with one. He wanted the other as well, and went to get it. Since, however, he did it so awkwardly, the mother of the little lamb heard him, and began to cry out terribly, and to bleat, so that the farmer came running there. They found the wolf, and beat him so mercilessly that he went to the fox, limping and howling. "You have misled me finely," said he. "I wanted to fetch the other lamb, and the country folks surprised me, and have beaten me to jelly." The fox replied, "Why are you such a glutton?" Next day they went again into the country, and the greedy wolf once more said, "Red Fox, give me something to eat, or I will eat you yourself." Then answered the fox, "I know a farmer where the wife is baking pancakes tonight. We will get some for ourselves." They went there, and the fox slipped round the house and peeped and sniffed about until he discovered where the dish was. And then he drew down 6 pancakes and carried them to the wolf. "There is something for you to eat," said he to him, and then went on his way. The wolf swallowed down the pancakes in an instant, and he said, "They only make me want one more," and went back and tore the whole dish down so that it broke into pieces. This made such a great noise that the woman came out, and when she saw the wolf, she called the people who hurried there and beat him as long as their sticks would hold together, till with 2 lame legs and howling loudly, he got back to the fox in the forest. "How abominably you have misled me!" cried he. "The peasants caught me and tanned my skin for me." But the fox replied, "Why are you such a glutton?" On the 3rd day, when they were out together, and the wolf could only limp along painfully, he again said, "Red Fox, go get me something to eat, or I will eat you yourself." The fox answered, "I know a man who has been killing, and the salted meat is lying in a barrel in the cellar. We will get that." Said the wolf, "I will go when you do, that you may help me if I am not able to get away." "I am willing," said the fox, and showed him the bypaths and ways by which at length they reached the cellar. There was meat in abundance, and the wolf attacked it instantly and thought, "There is plenty of time before I need to leave off." The fox liked it also, but looked about everywhere and often ran into the hole by which they had come in, and tried if his body was still thin enough to slip through it. The wolf said, "Dear fox, tell me, why are you running here and there so much and jumping in and out?" "I must see that no one's coming," replied the crafty fellow. "Don't eat too much." Then said the wolf, "I shall not leave until the barrel's empty." In the meantime, the farmer, who had heard the noise of the fox jumping, came into the cellar. When the fox saw him, he was out of the hole in one bound. The wolf wanted to follow him, but he had made himself so fat with eating that he could no longer get through, but stuck fast. Then came the farmer with a cudgel and struck him dead, but the fox bounded into the forest, glad to be rid of his old glutton. The fox and his cousin. The wolf gave birth to a cub and invited the fox to be godfather. "After all, he is a near relative of ours," said she. "He has a good understanding and much talent. He can instruct my little son and help him forward in the world." The fox, too, appeared quite honest, and said, "Dear cousin, I thank you for the honor which you are doing me. I will, however, conduct myself in such a way that you will be repaid for it." He enjoyed himself at the feast and made merry. Afterwards he said, "Dear cousin wolf, it is our duty to take care of the child. It must have good food, that it may be strong. I know of a farm from which we might fetch a nice morsel." The wolf was pleased with the ditty, and she went out with the fox to the farmyard. He pointed out the barn from afar and said, "You will be able to creep in there without being seen, and in the meantime I will look about on the other side to see if I can pick up a chicken." He, however, did not go in there, but sat down at the entrance to the forest, stretched his legs, and rested. The wolf crept into the stable. A dog was lying there, and it made such a noise that the peasants came running out, caught cousin wolf, and poured a strong burning mixture, which had been prepared for washing, over her skin. At last she escaped, and dragged herself outside. There lay the fox, who pretended to be full of complaints, and said, "Ah, dear cousin wolf, how ill I have fared! The peasants have fallen on me, and have broken every limb I have. If you do not want me to lie where I am and perish, you must carry me away." The wolf herself was only able to go away slowly, but she was in such concern about the fox that she took him on her back and slowly carried him perfectly safe and sound to her house. Then the fox cried to her, "Farewell, dear cousin. May the roasting you have had do you good," laughed heartily at her, and bounded off. The Fox and the Cat. It happened that the cat met the fox in a forest, and as she thought to herself, "He is clever and full of experience, and much esteemed in the world. She spoke to him in a friendly way. "Good day, dear Mr. Fox. How are you? How is all with you? How are you getting through this dear season?" The fox, full of all kinds of arrogance, looked at the cat from head to foot, and for a long time did not know whether he would give her an answer or not. At last he said, "Oh, you wretched whisker cleaner, you piebald fool, you hungry mouse hunter, what can you be thinking of? Do you venture to ask how I'm getting along? What have you learned? How many arts do you understand?" "I understand but one," replied the cat modestly. "What art is that?" asked the fox. "When the hounds are following me, I can spring into a tree and save myself." "Is that all?" said the fox. "I am master of 100 arts, and also have a sack full of cunning. You make me sorry for you. Come with me. I will teach you how people get away from the hounds." Just then came a hunter with 4 dogs. The cat sprang nimbly up a tree and sat down on top of it, where the branches and foliage quite concealed her. "Open your bag of cunning, Mr. Fox. Open your sack," cried the cat to him, but the dogs had already seized him and were holding him fast. "Oh, Mr. Fox," cried the cat, "you with your 100 arts are left in the lurch. Had you been able to climb like me, you would not have lost your life."